Welcome to Launching Light, the podcast for lightworkers and spiritual entrepreneurs to get tips and inspiration to launch their light in the world via their sacred business. I'm your host, Coach Bianca from FuelYourMagic.com. Are you seeking ways to raise your vibe to rise in your business? If so, keep on listening. Hello and welcome to this episode of the podcast. I'm so excited to introduce you to today's guest, Alexandra Hribik. Alexandra is a sound healer and a shadow integration priestess who helps women to integrate their light and shadow energies in order to embrace all of their layers completely and to find true freedom by being their true selves. During our conversation, some topics we touch on are showing up with intention in all aspects of your life and business, establishing boundaries in order to run your business as a fully empowered, integrated, and as your most authentic self, shadow work as next level self-care, and so much more. Let's get right into it. Enjoy the episode. Hi, Alexandra. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to speak with you. How are you?
Hi, Bianca. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you. And you?
Oh, I'm doing well too. Thank you. Thank you. So can you describe a little bit about yourself and your work? A little introduction?
Yes, of course. So my name is Alexandra Hribik, and I am more known as Luna Starseed. That was my Instagram name for many, many years. Maybe some of you might know me. I do sound healing and Reiki, and I facilitate healing for everyone, but my main focus is towards women. Right now, in my business, things have shifted a little bit just from doing the sound healing towards, also helping women rise in their power and embrace all the layers.
Beautiful, beautiful. So how long have you been doing that? And when did you know that you wanted to have a spiritual business, and how did you start out?
So I knew that I wanted to have a spiritual business about 4 years ago when Periscope was really popular.
That's where
That's where we met. I met so many people in that platform, and it was such a wonderful experience. And before that, I was already interested in sound healing and healing modalities, energy work, and all that. I already have been through a big awakening, shoot me towards the direction of, being a healer. Mm-hmm. And so Periscope started everything. I was doing sound healing meditations pretty much daily. I did Chakradiana meditations and readings. And from there, I just decided, wow, this is wonderful. I want to share my gifts with the world. So that's how everything kind of took off from there. And that's when I was, Luna Starseed. And that's what I went by, the name of my business, the name of my, sound healing. And it was just really wonderful just to be able to share that part.
Perfect. So you had mentioned that you were known as Luna Starseed. So when did you decide to change to using your own name, your given name, and what was that process?
So back then, when I was going by Luna Starseed, I was working with a lot of the energies of the galactic friends of ours, and I went into really studying these energies and connecting to my galactic family and, energies from other planets and working with their guidance. So I felt really connected and guided to bring that into the light and talk about these topics that, they're still very mysterious and people don't really want to talk about it, or it's too weird, too strange. And actually, I remember when I decided to go by that name, I was still in the process of, searching and reading. And I came across the word starseed. So I started, researching about starseed, what is starseed, and how we come back, how we come from the stars, and all this realm that is very, very expansive. And then my daughter's name is Luna. I always, since I was really young, so super connected to the moon. So I kind of integrated those two parts of myself.
Mm-hmm.
Me always wanting to be named Luna. I named my daughter
Oh,
Luna, give her that name, and the star seed. And back then, I was sharing a lot of the content of my experiences, in my dreams and connected to my galactic family and messages and all that realm, right? And it was great. It was amazing. I got a lot of insight. I learned a lot of different things, and I'm still learning and processing because, how I say, it's a very expansive subject. And I always said to people, if you feel guided, go do your own research and see how it feels, right? But then later on, things just start transitioning into being more connected to the earth. And one of the things that I noticed in my journey when I was, working with all the galactic energies and the star seeds and all this, out body experiences, I was experiencing actually as a disconnection from our planet and Mother Earth. And it almost became like this dialogue, like, oh, I just don't belong here, and I just don't, I'm from another planet, and I feel alien. And and of course, I think we all had to go through that because I do believe in life in other planets and all these energies that are around us that it come into a whole as a union with our planet.
right. Mm-hmm.
But I started realizing that by me just, doing this, I was disconnecting from where I came from and where I'm at and where I choose to be right now in this moment in time where my soul chooses to be in this
Right.
dimension. So things have started shifting about it, and I had to admit, I just recently just changed my name on my Instagram, and it was a little bit difficult because I was super attached to Luna Star Seed and all that vibe, cosmic vibe, even the colors of my brand. It was like, it's part of me, so part of me. But I feel like also that message can get a little bit confusing by not connecting to the mother and where we are right now in this planet. And so if we're talking about oneness, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that, it can easily create separation as well.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons that I decide to kind of shift things and come back to my earth body because when I was working with those energies, which they're so beautiful, very, very benevolent,
Right.
very loving, is a really pure form of energy because they're highly evolved. It was
Mm-hmm.
wonderful and I learned so much, but I need to bring that down here and kind of like stop that dialogue, like, I just don't belong here. Please take me with you, blah, 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 because
Right.
again, it just creates a separation. And what we're trying to do is to unify it and come to our planet and receive the messages as well from here, from the Mother Earth.
I could see how, now you're shifting your focus to um, being here on Earth and what you're here to do on Earth and being embodied and embodying your divinity and I, the message that I see two coming across your new brand, which I'm really loving. One merging and integrating your light and shadow for healing, and then the other really delving into self care and taking care of your body and really being embodied and being present in your body. So, can you talk a little bit about those two aspects of your business?
Thank you, Bianca. You just say that so beautifully. You're such a nice channel. I love it. So in the midst of, absorbing all the teachings and where I've been through. I did took some time off from social media, like almost two
Mm-hmm.
years and a half, because I was going through a lot of different things, such as
Right.
divorce and figuring things out. And that was kind of like, boom, like another awakening that life is giving me. And here we go. And I had to really just disconnect from everything. And during that time, it was just a time of integration, going within, learning a lot, going through some, highs and lows, and really just sitting with myself and what it was around me. And I think that moment, that time that I took off, it really helped me get more clarity and harness my gift and what I'm here to do. So self-care, yes, is so important. So yes, you're completely right. Like my business is shifting towards sharing the message of self-care, integrating your light and shadow, empowering women right
Hmm.
now, wherever they are, in whichever stage they are, and reflecting and being a mirror to them and them to myself. Um, I would love to chat a little bit about self care because it's so important, and self care is crucial for us to be able to show up in the most beautiful, highest way, to our community, to ourselves, to our children. So
Hmm.
I'm a firm believer that self care routine practice is important to incorporate, especially as mothers. So my message also is towards mothers because as mothers, we had to bear a lot. We had to
Hmm.
figure a lot of things, and not only to single mothers. Although I do want to, touch and work with more single mothers, but this is for all the women that
Hmm.
we have to carry a lot of things within and take care of people, and we forget about ourselves, and we forget about, filling our cup first. And we cannot give in from an empty cup, but often that's what we do because that's what we have been taught.
Right.
So my self-care practices, it just really starts from like very basic things. I feel like a lot of people think like self-care means like this magical, crazy routine that you just wake up and you just fly and you have bowls of
And you're in a bubble bath.
crystals and you're in a bubble bath and here comes your channel things, which is awesome. That can happen, of course, but self-care is starting out, at least with what I did. I just started putting intention on everything that I did because I was really short in time. I was really overwhelmed, being
Hmm.
a mother, trying to figure out things, and I had to sit on my darkness for a while and be with that feeling, and maybe that make like the best choices, as far as food or whatever it is, and sit with that feeling and then rise from that. And self care is one of the things that always pulls me out of that.
Right.
And when I say you put intention on everything that you do, if you feel like you cannot figure it out or you don't know how to start, I will just wake up and do my gratitude while in bed. I will wake up and brush my teeth. And this is self care. Just
Hmm.
like the simple act of brushing your teeth, you're is self care, but you're infusing it with that energy that you are taking of yourself and filling your cup first. Just having a glass of water first thing that you wake up in the morning. I think that it's a great way to start. And we might take these things for granted. This is what we do every day. We don't even think about it. We do it automatically. But
Right.
infusing that energy behind it can start creating the magic of developing another different bigger self-care routine. And I think it just takes little steps because self-care is not only taking care of your body and feeding good foods and blah blah blah. It really comes down to boundaries,
Mm.
and that is the big part. And that's when boundaries, really are there in your face and you're trying to figure out how to have boundaries. And that's when the light and shadow aspects of ourselves come into play.
Right. That's when the shadow pops up. When you have to establish a boundary.
Mm-hmm.
So true. So true. So I wanted to ask you, since you are so into self-care and you have a lot of knowledge in that area, what would you consider the best self-care for people who have a business? Do you think it would be any different than just someone who is a mom and doesn't have a business? Do you think it's all the same, or do you think that having a business on top of also living our human lives, that you need a little bit more?
I think that if having a business and also self-caring for yourself is crucial. I think it comes down to being honest about what you can do
Hmm.
and how much you can give, and
Mm.
also being on integrity. Being on integrity. about what you're putting out there and what you're sharing. Because especially having a spiritual business, like, you're gonna be working, dealing with a lot of different energies, having your
Right.
clients come to you. And I think that's when this is a great opportunity just to set boundaries with yourself and with your clients and really set that ground from the beginning. And
Right.
not only, but within yourself, I can see how can it be easy, just to spend hours on your phone and work on the post or make stories and really ask yourself if this is coming from a place of integrity and true, and am I standing behind that? I don't know if I got this question. I think I'm kind of going towards another different realm here, but
Well, that's
the whole
okay. It
point is
was a
that,
general question.
yeah, because
It was kind of a broad
okay,
question. So that's
because
okay.
yeah. Oh yeah, because I know that's what I'm feeling. I had to say, but when it comes to the self care, we can just literally just devote ourselves completely to one thing, and
Hmm.
perhaps teaching a message and showing up. Yeah, be this. Well, are we really applying that to our life as an empowered entrepreneur, healer, witch, magician, whatever you are, woman, man? Are we
Hmm.
really walking our talk,
Right.
right? And we're not perfect, we're human. So at the moment that also show up when we in our rawness, when we are not in the most highest, also show our humanity, that we don't know it all. And I personally believe that this is something that I also, years ago, I saw a lot in this spiritual community online, that we all were trying just so hard to show up and be like this super awakened person,
Right.
and like, oh, I know it all. And I call myself out because I do have to admit that it was a time in my life that I was just addicted to knowledge. Like,
Yes.
whoa, like I just was pulling from the star family and the galactic. I have, tons of books about that. And then, the ascended masters and tons of books about that. And healing and Reiki and sound healing and channeling, which is all good. It's all amazing, to inform yourself and, and really
Hmm.
study your craft. But we have to also, be honest and create the boundaries of, okay, what I'm here to teach, what I'm here to share. Am I in integrity with my business? Can I really provide and deliver this message to my community, to my tribe?
Right. So basically, it comes down to integrating the knowledge that you have been downloaded with either from galactic beings or from reading on Google. I mean, and also, what is your intention of what you put out there? Like, is it fully
Mm-hmm.
integrated, or is it that you're doing it because you feel you have to in order to maintain an image? Because if you
Mm,
don't, you won't be accepted or liked. I mean, that all comes to, okay,
exactly.
bingo, here's a shadow that you got to work out, because if you don't, it's going to show up in your business, right? So, like you
Yeah.
said, it all comes down to the boundaries and what your intention is. So, coming full circle to what you mentioned in the beginning about putting intention in everything that you do, I mean, I think that's like, put a star on that because that's what it comes down to. It's like, what was your intention? What's your intention with your business? What's your intention of your social media post? So yeah, it all comes
Mm-hmm.
down to your intention and your self care. So I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
what are
absolutely.
your personal? I'm sorry, you can finish what you were going to say.
No, I was agreeing with you that yes,
Okay,
yes, like
okay,
it's about intention and integrity. And I know, sorry, because I know the question was about the self care, but I think that's like a
right,
mental self care here.
right. So yeah, like what are your favorite self care practices or tools for self care that you go to? Like, what are your go tos personally?
I personally, as a mother of two children and um, creating this rebranding of my business, is I feel that in the mornings is a very sacred time to really set yourself up for the day and write those intentions, right? And For example, one of my self-care routines is, and we heard this many times, stay away from your phone, please. Put that thing away, charge it in the other room, please. Turn it off. And
Right.
that first hour is quite like some people call it the power hour. I don't know, maybe this came from, I don't know, but I think it's Tony Robbins. Um, the power hour is the hour when you are in charge of yourself. You are in the power of your own, being and creation, and you're not getting bombarded with whatever, like social media, opening apps, and a lot of people do that. I've done it many times. I still sometimes do it.
Mhm.
Hello, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, no, I do it sometimes too. But I have found it a best way to start creating this self-care practice and having a boundary with it is just cutting the distractions for the first hour. And
Mhm.
if you are on a time limit or you have to get to work, I have tried different things, like sometimes I will wake up and journal and write down my gratitudes, write down the things that I need to do. But sometimes, I don't have time, so I will do it in bed while I'm stretching. So it's really important if you're in bed and you're waking up, you just start stretching your body, do your stretches right there. And as I'm stretching, I'm just calling out the gratitude of the day. Start your
Right.
day with gratitude, even for like, thank you for my arm, thank you for my blanket, thank you because it's a new day, because I'm here right now. Um, whatever comes into mind, but start your day with gratitude and really like setting yourself up, like, get ready, wake up,
Mhm.
brush your teeth, get ready. That's like very, kind of like the basics, but also, diving into meditation right after, or journaling, or playing. I mean, this is what I do, or I just
Right.
play, sex medicine music or meditation music in the background, and doing a little bit of breath work. I'm a very I love to try different things. I have to twist it all the time, but I think that first hour is, or even the first 30 minutes of your day, that can be a good window for you to take care of yourself, and you can always change it and adjust it in whichever way you want. Because
Right.
again, you have to fill your cup before going out there and taking care of your children, or taking care of your family, or getting ready to work, or show up for your online community.
So it's like asking yourself the question, what do I feel like doing today that would make me feel, you know, ready to go, make me feel,
Hmm.
energized, or make me feel, really good for the day. It, it's like being here in the moment and honoring what your body and your mind and everything is telling you at that moment, right? Would you agree with
Yes, and
that?
I love that you mentioned that, because sometimes, the channel, our mind can just go in chatter mode, and we can start thinking about the bills and the things that we have to do and this and that. But that's what is so important, to connect back to your breath. So, I mean, everyone who's listening to this, you guys, we have so many tools. I mean,
Hmm.
you are the freaking tool, just for crying out loud. You have the most powerful gift being that keeps you alive, that is your breath. Just
Right.
simply by breathing into your body, and just channeling that breath into your system, your chakra system, into your heart, into whatever place of your body that you want to send that breath, and just really sit with it and be. Just feel the
Right.
feeling, and even for inner guidance, or just to the stretch. And when I say stretch, it's just to expand. Yeah, I was thinking about your body, but also expand
Right.
your heart center and kind
Right.
of clear the way.
Yeah, I love breath
Uh,
work because it's free. It's
I
free, and
know
there's so
it's
many
free.
techniques you can do. I mean, you can go on
Hmm.
YouTube and just search breath work and follow along with someone that you feel connected to, and it brings you immediately back into your body, and it calms you down, like you said, and it stops the chatter of your mind, and it just sets you up in such amazing ways. So I'm glad you mentioned breath work.
Yeah, and it's like we do have a lot of free tools right now, everywhere, and I believe that it's important to have a mentor. It's important to have a coach, someone who can
Hmm.
hold that space and reflect back to you. But if
Right.
at the moment you're not ready for that, or you cannot make an investment like that, you can start with yourself. It does require commitment.
Hmm.
It's all about commitment and devotion to what you really want to manifest and harness right now. And
Hmm.
it just really takes that, like how willing are you, how devoted are you to shift your reality, to heal parts of yourself that you haven't looked at,
Right.
and inform yourself and really just do that self exploration. But it's always, very beneficial to have someone there who can hold you accountable and reflect back to you and guide you through these
Hmm.
processes if
Yeah, I'm
you're
glad you
having a hard
mentioned that.
time doing it yourself.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that because even let's take breath work, for example. I mean, it can take you to funky town, meaning like, you know, you can get a little bit lightheaded on it. Like, you really need someone to be there to guide you if you're going to go deep, deep, deep. Things are going to come up, as you're doing breath work, things that need to be looked at and healed, and acknowledged. And I think having a mentor there is extremely important, like you mentioned. I mean, if you're going to first start out going on YouTube and seeing what it's all about and seeing, you know, dipping your toe in the water is cool. But if you really want to get into it and, like you said, get committed into a certain breathwork practice, having a mentor there is extremely important. I agree with you
Yes, yes. And the thing is, I mean, I want to touch a little bit about the shadow work
there. Hmm.
that I also I've been exploring. So again, I was sharing with you guys like in the past few years, like life happens and things, everything shifted, and in this process of sitting with these parts of myself that I haven't looked at, I was able to do inner work, work with plant medicines, um, and explore those realms of the shadow. And I think
Right.
another thing that I have found, that I learned, that I've seen, is that we also want to shame the shadow and put it down and, oh my God, like the shadow this, and I don't do that because that's really low vibration, or I don't listen to this type of music, da 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 da, whatever
Hmm.
it is. And that's just the surface, like that's the surface, like the food and whatever that we label as a darker shadow in our 3D reality. That is just the surface. But the shadow work that I want to help women integrate and share and rise in their power is the work that we really have to go within and find where the trauma happened. So my work is just layers of different things, because when we go deep into the shadow work, we're going to be exploring what was your original trauma as
Right.
a child. So that when it comes out, so the work of healing your inner child and acknowledging that part of you that has been hidden in your heart or somewhere within, and rise from that, rise from that. So, you were asking like how things shifted in my business, and why is because yes, I can do sound healing all day, and I can go live and I can give you a sound healing session, a Reiki session. I can pull cards from you, and you can get
Hmm.
some guidance, and you might feel some relief after a sound bath, which is wonderful. I'm just so excited to be doing it again. I also just got like a new set of singing bowls. I cannot wait to come up with that. But going back to the topic is that, we can do this all day, and we can get
Right.
the thousands of tarot readings and, do the meditation and this and that. But the work, the inner work, it comes when you really sit down, and we do have to go back in time and go explore and see, okay, what happened, what happened in your child. I mean, usually in the childhood,
Hmm.
usually these traumas happen between 0 to 7 years
Right.
old, maybe a little bit later than that, but usually those are the ages that this happen. And that is what creates and really dictates a lot of our behavior in the now and our trauma. And, this can be obviously different for everybody in relationships, in addictions, in procrastination. I mean, you name it. But that's where the shadow work really goes into, not shaming it, not labeling like it's something horrible, bad. I don't want to look into it. It's low vibration. No, it needs to be acknowledged, because once we acknowledge that original pain,
right,
we take it, we transmute it, we acknowledge it, we carry it as a baby and bring it back into the light that we are. But we are also both. So it's kind of tricky because, yes, you just integrate both. The way that I always see this beautiful integration, you can see as a yin yang, you can see as like a DNA code, both integrating and learning from each other and feeding each other and creating from that space, creating from your experiences, and freaking bringing that light into the world, because your power and your gifts are needed now more than ever. More than ever, we need to call all the warriors to step forward and, okay, let's do this and heal each other.
Definitely,
and help heal each other, help heal the planet.
Right. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Shadow work, I think, is where you really get down to what they call brass tacks, right? Where you get down to like the essence of what we're here to do, right? So our lives, like you said, it's usually just a repeat of something that happened back when you were a child and what you made it mean, right? Something happened to you and you said, well, that must mean that my mother doesn't love me. And it's all subconscious, right? When you're a child, you're not consciously saying, oh, that means my mother doesn't love me. But you hold on to that in your body, and year after year, as you're growing up, it's there. It's there, and it just wants to be acknowledged, right? So you look at it when you're bigger you, and you're like, that, is that really true? Did that really mean that my mother didn't love me? Or is that something that I created myself? And it's like, and then forgive yourself for it, right? It all comes down to forgiveness and love, right? And I really feel like we're all mirrors for each other to do that work. It's like you'll see somebody and they'll trigger you and you'll say, why am I so annoyed right now? And it's like, because there's a little child inside of you that's saying, are you going to look at me now? Are you going to look at me now? Are you going to witness me now? Are you going to give me the love that I didn't feel back then? Now. So it's sort of like reparenting yourself, I feel. And I think that's really the work that we're all here to do. We all do it in different ways. You can do it through sound healing. You can do it through, chakra work. You can do it through any kind of energy work, Reiki work. That's just the beginning, but you have to really get deep down. So I totally agree with you. You got to get deep down into the shadow and not shame it, because that's part of our humanity. That's how we develop ourselves. So how could you, make something shameful of being human and being alive? It's part of our humanity. It's yeah.
And it can be a scary, intense, realm to go to, because of course a lot of things will arise by doing that work. But that's why you have someone there to support you through it. That's why you do what you had to do and use all your tools from different places to empower yourself and take that journey. It's the most beautiful journey that a human can take, and it's an ongoing journey, because I'm not saying, oh yeah, I did my shadow work and I'm free. No, it will come back, and it's part of you. It's part of you, and that's why we just have to keep doing that inner work and keep sharing it and being authentic and being raw and showing up and supporting each other, holding each other.
Yeah, I always say, like, if you're still alive, then there's still work to do. It's like an onion. Keep peeling back the layers. Yeah, that's beautiful, beautiful. So what are you currently working on in your business? Do you have any upcoming projects or offerings?
Yeah, so currently I'm still offering my sound healing sessions and Reiki and reading sessions as usual. But in addition to that, I am offering integration of the light and shadow as we talk here, and holding that space for everyone. So right now I do have a 30-minute exploration call where I get to sit with whoever feels guided working with me and kind of, go through where they at and what they want to express and bring to the light and holding that space for it. So you can call it, coaching or mentorship, but it's really bringing a holistic way of working through all these different realms of life, and especially, rising from our limitations and helping women gain her power back.
Beautiful.
So, and there is future projects that for sure coming about programs that I want to be working on and making courses. That's all in the future. So please stay tuned for that. I cannot wait to share all the magic and creation with all of you.
Perfect. So what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Well, right now as on Instagram, so I'm going by my name, which is Alexandra Hribik, Hribik, very particular last name. And you can DM me there, and that's actually the best way to connect with me. However, if you come from knowing me from Luna Starseed, that page is still up. That's going to go away pretty soon, but there is information there if you want to kind of know more specifically about the sound healing and Reiki and card readings. You can go to lunastarseed.com. And yes, Instagram. That's probably the best way to reach out and the quickest way, to get in touch with me.
Okay, perfect. I'll make sure that I put those links on the show notes for everyone so that they can connect with you easily. That's great. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I mean, I had a great time discussing all of these things with you. I could talk all day. I could probably talk for
I know. We can sit here and talk forever.
I would love to have you back on the show when you have other things going on. I'd love to have you back on and delve into what you've got going on.
I will be honored. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Launching Light. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Alexandra as much as I did. If you love her vibe, check out the show notes for her contact information and give her a follow. Currently, her main offerings are her free community, Chakra Alchemy, on Facebook, her Sound Healing Alchemy sessions, and her new one-to-one mentorship program called Shakti Rising. Be sure not to miss the next podcast to get more tips, tools, and practices to help you make your business as magical as you are. Now get out there and launch your light. Have a magical week.